This is Kirk Anderson reporting from the Polk County Republican headquarters in St. Croix Falls, Wisconsin for Wisconsin News. I'm standing with Dave Westlake, who just finished a meet and greet session at the headquarters here and met with several people from the area who had questions and concerns about the upcoming election. Dave, tell me a little bit about what some of the questions were that were being asked by the people who came today.
Sure. We talked a lot about the economy and taxes. Talked a lot about the state of the war on terror and the Patriot Act and illegal immigration. Those are the three topics that always seem to pop up wherever we go. We also heard a little bit about issues as they relate to farmers here today as well, because there's a lot of farmers in the area who've got a lot of concerns about milk prices and things that are going on in their lives.
One of the big top concerns as of the current economy is the health care issue that's going on. Were there any concerns from individuals about health care, and maybe what were they?
Yeah, there sure were. There are a few older people who were concerned about the future of their health care, and a few people who were getting into the age where they were going to have to start being concerned about the potential for a government takeover and what that might mean for their health care. And we talked at great length about that as well, but mostly that focused on taking Obamacare as it stands right now, isolating a couple things that make sense, and getting rid of everything else that's a government takeover, and coming up with, over the next 2 years, between now and the time we either get a new president or a veto-proof majority in the Senate, and coming up with something that Americans want, Americans need, but it's not a government takeover.
What are the differences between you and Ron Johnson? What sets you guys apart?
Yeah, there really are a lot of differences. You may think that, well, you got two Republicans here, that how different can they be? Well, we're miles apart in a lot of things. First and foremost, I think the most fundamental thing is that I recognize the Constitution as the law of the land. It's not a difficult document to truly understand. He has said on multiple occasions that he's not a constitutional scholar, and he's not qualified necessarily to make some interpretations of the Constitution. Well, that's kind of the purpose of what you do in the Senate. You look at the law of the land and you make sure that everything that you do is within the Constitution, within the framework of the Constitution. The Second Amendment is a big point of differentiation for us as well. He's admitted that he's a lifelong fisherman, and he doesn't own a gun. So he respects hunters' rights, but that's the extent of what he understands of the Constitution. I'm sorry, the Second Amendment. He also thinks there should be some permitting requirements for gun owners. The Second Amendment is not about hunters' rights. It's about liberty. It's about protecting your liberty. It's about the ability to protect your life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's fundamental to what Americans are. The Patriot Act. He thinks the Patriot Act, as it stands right now, is a sufficient tool to fight the war on terror. Well, we know that it's not working, because we've just seen a multitude of attacks over the last couple of years, where thankfully most of the detonation systems and the bombs that have been planted have failed, so we don't have dead Americans as a result of that. Mm-hmm. But that's not us being safe from terror. That's the Patriot Act failing to protect us, and the terrorists just failing to make a comprehensive bomb that actually works. Mm-hmm. Illegal immigration, he thinks that Real ID is the path to solving illegal immigration, and has actually said that we don't have an immigration problem here in this state, when obviously it's a national issue. It's not just a Wisconsin issue. We have illegal immigration problems everywhere, and it impacts so many different aspects of our lives that you can't identify just one area where it hits. It really hits us all everywhere.
Ron Johnson was endorsed by Right to Life and Right to Life Wisconsin. What are your thoughts on him being endorsed by Right to Life, and what do you know about his position on Right to Life?
Well, it's a little disappointing. I'll admit that. Wisconsin Right to Life is a group that I believe in, and I had a lot of faith that we were going to get an endorsement from. Because I'm 100% pro-life. I don't make exceptions based on anything that could ultimately be exacerbated into, and abused in a different situation. Ron Johnson has exceptions on his view on life, and I think that makes a dangerous mix when a group that's supposed to be a pro-life group endorses someone who makes exceptions based on rape and incest and the health of the mother for abortion. It waters down their message and makes them less efficient, I think, less effective in their battle.
There are some challenges when you are facing a endorsed candidate that seems to have the backing of the established Republican Party. Mm-hmm. You've laid out several concerns that I think the majority of people would want to know about, but there's very little out there. What exactly can people do to find out more about him and what are you doing in your campaign to tell people about your message?
Well, we're meeting in small groups like this all across the state. We're meeting people face to face, eye to eye, so you can look at me and tell if I've got the right level of character and integrity that you expect for someone in Washington. So we're spending a lot of face time with a lot of people, meeting as many people, shaking as many hands as possible, because ultimately what I believe is important is if I'm going to ask you for your vote, if I'm going to ask you to give me the most precious thing that you control in a republic, a democratically elected republic like what we live in, then you deserve the opportunity to challenge me and test me and make sure that I am what I say I am. And that's how we're doing this. That's the buzz that we're creating, is going across the state, meeting with people in small groups and sharing our message and taking their questions and not allowing these softball questions that are set up so I can make myself look good. I want to be asked the tough questions. It doesn't matter what the group is, whether they're Republican, Democrat, Independents. I speak to them all because ultimately I want to be everybody's U.S. Senator. I'm not shielding myself from anybody. I'm not protecting myself from anyone. I'm putting myself out there because that's what the people of Wisconsin deserve.
This is Kirk Anderson, again reporting from the Polk County Republican headquarters for Wisconsin News. And I want to thank Dave for taking a moment out of his time in his busy schedule.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.